Continuing on with our series of a celebrity who became famous when they were very young and was chewed up, spit out, used and abused, and are now adults having to deal with all of that trauma. And I think it's important to note that understanding what happens to these celebs when they're children doesn't excuse their behavior. There have been a lot of things that Justin has done, from saying the N-word to drag racing to fights that he's been in, that I'm not excusing, but I think looking at the context of his life and now really understanding how the Hollywood machine just destroys kids who go through it helps to put things into perspective. Let's jump into it.
Blonde-haired, blue-eyed tween made a few YouTube videos singing in 2007, got swooped up by the major record labels, and they forced his generic pop songs onto us.
So he was 12 years old when he made a YouTube video where he got discovered. So Scooter Braun was the one who discovered Justin Bieber, who was just a young boy living in Canada, making music on YouTube. And I think at 12 or 13 was when Scooter signed him. And then by 15, he was a star.
Then every young girl in the world became obsessed with him, making him millions of dollars and keeping his songs in rotation on the radio. He was an easy person to hate, or just completely disregard. However, in the early 2010s, he started to change. He was lashing out in public, assaulting people, and starting to confirm people's suspicions of him being a snobby rich brat. And although this video is not going to be me trying to convince you that Justin Bieber is an unproblematic saint, there is another perspective to consider that might make his antics a little understandable. For example, the many times he was blatantly assaulted or harassed in public.
Can I say this? Lean into me again. You smell amazing. How old are you?
Thank you.
James Corden is leaning in as close as he possibly can with his hand resting on Justin's back.
Thank you so much. Look at him. Look at what a beautiful face. All right.
Rubbing Justin's face was just disrespectful, but he couldn't resist touching the boy.
James Corden was like smelling him and saying how good he smelled. And then he also, I don't think it's in this video, but in this clip, he goes, "Oh, you have such beautiful eyes." This is just one of many examples of adults making Justin Bieber feel uncomfortable. Whatever,
Bieber
didn't matter.
awkwardly tries to go along with the joke, but James makes it even worse.
Voted to just do it. Don't mess around. Don't tease me, Bieber.
People couldn't keep their hands off Justin, including Katy Perry, who had to get herself a handful as she mouths to the camera, "Sorry, Selena." At the end of this interaction, Justin says, "We can do that forever if you want," which made some people think that he was okay with this behavior. Even David Letterman put his hands on Justin. During the 2012 interview, David insisted on denouncing Justin's tattoos.
Is that a new tattoo?
This is a new tattoo.
Oh, God, how many do you have?
I have just a couple.
But Letterman took it too far when he put his hands on Justin.
You know, I got Believe.
Get that off of there.
Although this one wasn't explicit in nature, it was still totally uncalled for. David would later apologize for his behavior, but it's odd to see how many people were so willing to put their hands on the boy.
I will squeeze your face. No, I will. No.
Justin had to shout no 5 times before she would stop, but that's not all. Earlier in this segment, she was forcing him to answer a really strange would you rather question.
Would you rather have to be naked on stage during one full song, or drink a cup of blended worms?
I have like little girl fans. I can't go.
The fact that 15-year-old Justin Bieber identifies that that question is not appropriate because he has little girls who are fans of his. Look how many young girls are in the crowd.
Imagine there was no laws. Imagine it wasn't like weird like that.
Imagine there's no laws. Like, what is wrong with you? So it's totally fine to be nude in front of children? Like, what are we doing?
I wouldn't do either. I don't.
You have to pick Justin Bieber.
She's screaming at him. This is so wildly inappropriate.
Like, I
will grab your face.
Hey, I saw that stuff you were drinking in the movie. That looked like worms.
Her body language is so strange. This whole clip is really, really weird.
While doing a radio show called Mojo in the Morning, the host, Shannon Murphy, brought the conversation in a strange direction.
Has your mom given you the sex talk yet?
I mean, like, I really don't want to have that conversation with my mother.
Yeah.
Like I've kind of had it with my father.
You want to hear? Oh, really? See, my
little
parents never gave me the sex talk.
Okay.
So why don't you give me the sex talk?
I feel uncomfortable right now.
Oh.
Why don't you give me the sex talk? She's 26. And he's like maybe 15 here. 26 years old saying to a boy, why don't you give me the sex talk?
Why do you want to know the sex talk from a 15-year-old boy? That's pretty weird.
He very clearly stated that he was uncomfortable when the host brought up sex.
This is a kid. And it's sad because in most instances, kids who were sexualized and abused by adults and predators in Hollywood didn't have the language or didn't have the wherewithal in the moment to call out adults who were being weird and inappropriate and predatory towards them. And so it's almost astonishing to see Justin, who is so young, but like being able to call out these adults, but not having them stop.
But the circumstances that built up to this are a bit confusing because earlier in the conversation, this happened.
Justin, what are you going to be doing after the show tonight?
I thought I was picking you up.
Now, when I was 15 years old, I probably would have said some dumb stuff like that to an older girl. But apparently Justin couldn't keep his hands to himself.
That little kid is like a walking set of hormones. He is.
Wow. Got a little too touchy-feely with you?
He wasn't just like patting my butt, he was grabbing my butt and he kept saying, is it inappropriate? Is this inappropriate?
Oh my God.
And he would grab it harder and go, is it inappropriate now? Is it inappropriate now? Oh my gosh, he's kissing me. Here, come sit here. Come sit with me right here. Dude, Justin Bieber just like comes up and you just started making out with me, you know that?
Is that not appropriate?
Justin was obviously flirting with Shannon in a juvenile way. Then she said live on air how Justin was touching and kissing her. We can imagine there were definitely some instances where Justin felt like he could probably touch whoever and whatever he wanted.
What happens when inappropriate behavior like this gets normalized is it teaches kids that's what they should do. The other thing is that it sounds to me as if she's playing it up. You know, the whole, oh, you're making out with me, you're grabbing my butt. That is playing up a situation that shouldn't be happening. These are conversations like with the behavior being inappropriate on Justin's behalf. One, you cannot normalize that and you cannot be encouraging it and then also being like leading it on. And two, you need to have those conversations then in private. You do not reinforce that behavior.
26-year-olds shouldn't have brought up the sex conversation on the air. Even men were infatuated with young Bieber. L.A. Reid, music executive who signed Justin to his first major record deal, said, "This kid was beautiful, like a woman can be beautiful, and men rarely are." And he turned it on as soon as he stepped into the room. He recalls how Bieber had
This is sickening.
Grown his hair down, almost covering his eyes, and says he could see immediately that Justin's hair would be every bit as important as his songs, his voice, his face, or his presence. Justin was simply beautiful. He gushes. His superpower was his face. The context of this article.
Yeah, it's sick. A 14-year-old kid describing him this way. And it's obvious from the start that he looked at Bieber objectifying him and understanding that they could sexualize this kid because he had this androgynous look, that he had this beautiful woman-like appearance and was beautiful in a way that men aren't. And I think that was a big part of how they made Justin appealing.
Makes it seem like L.A. Reid was attracted to the young Bieber, but we don't really know that for sure. He was definitely right about his star power, but how he came to that conclusion just seems a little odd. However, the most deplorable assault was by Jenny McCarthy at the 40th Annual
This is
American
really bad,
Music
you guys.
Awards.
This is bad.
I feel violated right now.
A shocked Justin Bieber couldn't say anything but the truth. "I feel violated right now." By this point, this was all too common for him.
Jenny McCarthy is already such a vile person, and I already thought she was vile before I knew about this. This woman needs to be thrown in the grinder. She is awful, and she has been awful for a long time, and listen to what she says about it.
Great. I just got to neck Justin Bieber and grab his butt.
I saw that you like totally, like it was like a full-on almost makeout session.
A little cougar scary.
Yeah.
But I took the opportunity in the window, considering I'll never get to do it again, and kind of molested him.
She's 40, by the way. Justin was 18, and she just joked about molesting him.
That would be the cougar score of the century. Jenny McCarthy dates Justin Bieber.
Would you?
I want some Bieber fever, and I want a Bieber rash.
Want it all.
It'd be like cougar rape.
Yep. Jenny McCarthy has said, I molested him and has said, yeah, it's cougar rape.
Do you think that he's been handling the pressure well? Like, how did you see him out the back?
Yeah, you know, I feel like he is. I don't know what to do. I can't even imagine starting in the industry as young as he has. And then to go through a public breakup so young.
Can't imagine how hard it's been for him to have started in the industry so young. Yeah, when he's surrounded by like you who assault him, who violate him on stage. After that moment happened, by the way, Pitbull goes, man, I wish that had been me. When young men and young boys are sexualized by much older women, so usually this is brought up when we talk about female teachers who rape their male students. And yet the way that viewed is, oh, he's so lucky. Oh, I wish I were that boy. I don't see any problem with it. She's hot.
Jenny clearly enjoys the predatory behavior, as she described it as molestation and R-word. She thinks it's cute and quirky and even bragged about it on Twitter after.
My Thanksgiving, describing to my nieces over and over again what Justin Bieber tastes like. This lady. P. Diddy has been in the headlines because his houses were raided. He's being investigated for sex trafficking on top of the multiple lawsuits that have been filed against him, which detail incredibly disgusting and illegal crimes that Diddy has allegedly been committing for years. Bieber and Usher were essentially just groomed by him. Justin and Usher were so young when they were spending nights, like they were having sleepovers with P. Diddy. Usher would sleep in his bed when Usher was like 10 years old.
You probably heard by now that back in the day, Diddy used to run something called Puffy's Flavor Camp, and he paid his young protege Usher to live with him. Well, rumors are now going around that Usher wasn't the only young star that Diddy tried to control. Several clips of Diddy making young Justin Bieber uncomfortable recently went viral, and fans are saying it's high time someone investigates all these creepy allegations about Diddy. We want to point out that Diddy's orientation is not the issue here.
To be clear, it's not a matter of whether Diddy is gay or bisexual or whatever his sexual orientation is. It's the fact that he is a predator and he is an abuser. That is what needs to be investigated.
Back in 2009, when Justin was 15 years old, he spent 48 hours hanging out with Diddy, who was 40 at the time. And Justin later uploaded a video on his YouTube channel documenting some of their moments. And again, imagine if this were a 40-year-old rapper organizing a 2-day hangout with a 15-year-old girl. Well, anyway, the video Justin uploaded was very strange because it showed Diddy promising Justin that he would give him a nice car and a mansion, and the whole interaction just gave off major groomer vibes.
As soon as you turn 16, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna let you rock this every time you come in LA. Yeah, this gonna be yours.
Woo. Okay.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna be driving this next year.
Yeah, when you get 16, you come down there, you gotta, you know, wear your seatbelt.
I mean, I'm 15. You could ride in the passenger seat. I got my permit. Not yet. 16. 16.
Like, why were they hanging out?
Also, near the end of the video, Diddy said he couldn't reveal what he and Justin were planning to do together. However, he said it was definitely a 15-year-old's dream.
Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like, you know, where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. You know, I have been given custody of him.
We don't know what Diddy personally did to Justin, and I hope that it was nothing. I hope that Justin was not sexually abused by him. We don't know. However, having Diddy say things like, oh yeah, this is every 14-year-old's dream, this is every 15-year-old's dream of being surrounded by adult, you know, beautiful women, surrounded by just an epic party scene, all these things that are not appropriate for 14 or 15-year-old boys, but this is where the normalization comes in. They were kids. They should not have been around any of this.
You know, he signed to Usher.
I'm signed to Usher.
I had legal guardianship of Usher when you know he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So and we gonna go full crazy.
I don't know if you guys remember this, but I think this was in 2015. Justin Bieber went on vacation and he stepped outside the place that he was staying at, and paparazzi took photos of him naked, obviously not with his consent. And then Ellen brought Bieber on to talk to him about that.
Talk about the paparazzi shot in Bora Bora.
Okay.
So you are obviously in a private bungalow.
Yeah.
And because usually we're all pretty good at spotting paparazzi.
Yeah.
They
Like,
hide in
why,
boats, pretend to be
dude?
fishermen, and we're like, you're paparazzi. I mean, we're pretty good at it. How did you not see that there was paparazzi there?
Well, I just didn't see them. I think I wasn't really looking out for them either, so.
This
Was
is
there
embarrassing.
when you think back on it now, can you see where they may have been?
Yeah,
they in a boat?
yeah, they're definitely in a boat. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was in the bungalow next to you, and when I saw it, I was shocked.
Yeah.
And I don't know how.
It's just
people
like-
didn't see. I was right there.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
This should not have been on the show. You could have talked to him about a lot of different things. But no, you had to put up his nude paparazzi photo in front of the whole audience and then ask him like, well, why didn't you see the paparazzi?
So there's a young woman in
And then this part.
in the background you can see in the bed.
Yeah, no.
Is that your girlfriend?
No, it's not.
Just a girl that you were in Bora
Just a
Bora with?
friend. Yeah.
You just brought a friend to Bora Bora?
Yeah.
And you're just naked with your friend?
Why are you putting me on the spot like this? Gosh.
I mean, you can say, why can't you say you're dating somebody?
I'm not dating anyone, though.
She's just a friend?
She's just a friend.
So the reason why I'm showing this example is because one of the things that Justin had to deal with was growing up in front of the world.
This was our first clue that Bieber was beginning to shed his wholesome image. Things took a turn for the worse later that same year. While on the European leg of his Believe tour, Justin stopped in England just in time for his 19th birthday. Later that day, Bieber tweeted, "Big night ahead," anticipating his birthday celebration. He and his entourage had planned a $8,000 birthday bash, booking tables at the Cirque des Soirs Club in Soho. Unfortunately, the celebration didn't meet expectations after members of Justin's entourage were denied entry into the club because a few of the members of Bieber's party were under the suitable age of 18. Justin tweeted, "Worst birthday," complimented with a message to his Instagram account, voicing his side of the story. I love how the club wanted to give the press another reason why we didn't stay at their weak-ass club, so they wouldn't look bad for me walking in and right back out. People thought Justin felt entitled to come into another country and break the rules because he is a star. From there, he allegedly showed up 2 hours late for his debut show at the O2 Arena after throwing a massive tantrum. Several backstage sources claim Bieber was in a bad mood after waking up late because of a night out and proceeded to lock himself in his dressing room to play computer games. The crowd reportedly began booing at about 9:30 p.m., almost an hour before Justin ultimately hit the stage. If the week couldn't get any worse, Justin lashed out at a photographer outside his London hotel after the man called him a...
That's so real. Like, he was just a kid who had been doing this for almost all of his teenage years and clearly reached a point where he was just so over it. Like, he just wants to play video games in his room.
What'd you say? You heard what I said, man. What'd you say? You heard what I beat the mate. Lose your belt. Lose your belt.
What is wrong with this British egg? Why is he doing that? Again, it's not to say that Justin was not acting out and now we understand context as to his behavior, but antagonizing him when he's still like he's a teenager and this egg is an adult and he's being aggressive.
Little what are you doing? What are you doing?
I just love the irony of this situation. The photographer tries to get a rise out of Justin, then Justin responds with threats, then the photographer gets really mad at Justin for getting mad at him, and the guy also taking a video of the situation gets upset when someone starts filming him. It's ridiculous. He responded on Twitter by saying he had a rough morning and that he let his emotions get the best of him, but this incident started his lifelong beef with the paparazzi. In June of 2013, Justin and his entourage were involved in an altercation with a photographer outside the Hit Factory studio in Miami. The entire exchange was caught on tape.
Paparazzi are so...
Later that same day, Justin was skateboarding outside the Hit Factory when another photographer began snapping photos of him. Bieber's bodyguards allegedly rushed the photographer, and one started choking him. The photographer claimed that he grabbed his camera and removed the memory cards. It seemed like every few months there was another controversy, just slowly chipping away at his reputation. Like when he peed in a cleaning bucket while partying. Justin and his friends left a nightclub through the restaurant's back entrance before stopping to relieve himself in the kitchen, more specifically in the bucket that is filled with water to clean the floors. This is just another inconsiderate drunk teenager doing what a million others have done before, but Justin should know better. Then while passing through China during the Asia leg of his Believe tour, a picture was posted of him being carried up the stairs, which caused people on the internet to label him as a diva. His controversies were definitely minor in the beginning. He was being heavily criticized, attacked in blogs and by TMZ for the situations that were pretty small, but the controversies just never stopped. The coverage got more detailed, and the reactions just got worse. He also had a spitting problem, with multiple reports over the years of him spitting on people during violent outbursts, including his own fans, who were visiting him outside of his hotel in Toronto where he spat down on them, breaking out into laughter with his buddies. Then he took a photo of his view, which was posted on Instagram sporting a caption about how he has the best fans in the world. In 2014, he spat in his neighbor's face after a heated argument, which started by Justin driving his Ferrari at over 100 miles per hour down the road. When his neighbor confronted him at the front doorstep, Justin told him to get the F out of here, before spitting in Jeff's face and saying, "I'm gonna effing kill you." A year later, he had another altercation with the same neighbor, which resulted in Justin throwing 24 eggs at his neighbor's house.
Hey, fuck you,
Yeah, I remember so much of this too.
Yeah, come right over here, you motherfucker. Call the cops.
Months later, Justin pleaded no contest to 1 count of misdemeanor vandalism for the incident. In exchange for the plea, he was ordered to pay $80,000 in restitution and to stay away from his former neighbor and the neighbor's family for 2 years. By this point, Justin kind of proved he was a privileged boy with an attitude problem, but this last controversy would send him spiraling down. In June of 2014, a video emerged of the 15-year-old Justin telling racist jokes about black people, using the N-word multiple times. As the video went viral, Justin issued an apology, stating, "I thought it was okay to repeat hurtful words and jokes, but I didn't realize at the time that it wasn't funny and that, in fact, my actions were continuing the ignorance." Some people gave him the benefit of the doubt, that he was young and dumb, but then a second video showing a 15-year-old Justin circulated. Similar to the first, he sang his own song, "One Less Lonely Girl," replacing the lyrics with "One Less Lonely" and using the hard R, stating that if he were to kill one, he would be part of the KKK. He apologized again a day later and was released, stating, "Facing my mistakes from years ago has been one of the hardest things I've ever dealt with, but I feel I need to take responsibility."
And again, like, remember who he was hanging around when he was this age. I'm not letting him off the hook. Like, that's wrong. That behavior is wrong. Just trying to provide context to how he turned out that way, like why he was acting that way. And remember that he was at camp sugar puff sugar camp.
I don't think I really need to explain why people were absolutely outraged with this. And for a lot of people, once they saw these videos, their mind was made up about Justin Bieber, and they're never going to change their mind. And I can't blame them for that. Justin dragged his reputation to an all-time low. He was stamped as just another child star gone mad. After a drunk driving incident in Miami, he was never the same. Justin was seen at SET nightclub in Miami Beach, Florida. He left the venue driving a yellow Lamborghini before police spotted him in a residential neighborhood. Bieber's entourage allegedly blocked the street so he could drag race singer Khalil, who was driving a red Ferrari. Authorities initially conducted a traffic stop for drag racing, but arrested Justin once they realized he was intoxicated. He was arrested on suspicion of driving under the influence, driving with an over 6-month expired license, and resisting arrest without violence. His mugshot depicting him smiling was concerning to fans. Police claim Bieber told authorities he consumed alcohol, smoked marijuana, and took prescription drugs. He and Khalil were locked up in a jail cell for 10 hours. Justin was later released from these charges on a $2,500 bond. A toxicology report revealed that Bieber had THC and Xanax in his system at the time of his arrest. Following Bieber's arrest on the DUI charge, more than 270,000 people petitioned the White House seeking to have him deported from the United States. Although the number of signatures received was sufficient to require a response under published White House guidelines, the Obama administration didn't take the petition seriously. But it turns out behind the scenes, Justin had a much worse drug problem than people realized.
There was a time where I was sipping lean, I was popping pills, I was doing Molly.
Yeah, and you want to know the thing too is that is encouraged in Hollywood. Those substances are just given to young people in Hollywood.
Justin's drug abuse got so bad, he was even caught in the most dangerous areas of Los Angeles buying drugs.
Hood, homie. MS gang. Nice seeing you, bro. Have a good one. I just saw Bieber. I just seen Bieber. Leave it to Bieber. That's crazy.
His addiction got so bad, he was willing to put his own life at risk. Justin says his substance use was normal in the beginning, but gradually became a problem to escape from the pressure of being this pop star. It's hard for his opposition to feel bad for him when in the end, all of his antics will just help him sell more records. No matter what he does, it will be seen as the wrong step. It's quite literally is the child star curse, because nothing you do will ever compare to how you were introduced to the world as a perfect, innocent child.
That's what I'm
With
talking
that, he
about.
finally
Yes, I'm so glad that he just made this point. There's no way that you can go through this and not be affected by it when you start off that young.
Perhaps the most
Brother, stop
profound
going
moment
on,
was
Ellen.
during his Zane Lowe interview.
It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, you know, telling me they love me and, you know, just turn their back on you in a second.
I just think that that speaks volumes and provides a lot of understanding.
When he asked Justin about Billie Eilish, since Billie in 2020 was the 18-year-old pop star who was thrown into the industry very similar to Bieber, Justin felt like he wanted to protect her.
Yeah, so, yeah. I just want to protect her, you know? I don't want her to lose it. I don't want her to, you know, go through anything I went through. I don't wish that upon anybody. So, yeah, if she ever needs me, I'm just a call away.
Just the mere thought of Billie enduring what Justin had to endure brought him to tears, and recalling those dark moments in his life made fans realize that this was not fake. This young man was likely abused by this industry.
I don't know how you don't behave this way as somebody who lost your childhood to fame and had to grow up in front of the world and had all these adults telling you who you were going to be, how you were going to be, being put in so many inappropriate situations. And I don't know how you don't lash out when you get a little bit older, like when you're someone who becomes famous so young. I don't know, things always turn for former child stars like that, where they're really cute and they're making everybody happy when they're young and they're innocent, and then they get older and they have all of this anger and trauma and they start lashing out and they start doing drugs and they start partying, they start getting in trouble, and then the media totally flips on them. There's no empathy whatsoever. There's no understanding at all as to why they're behaving like this, and they just villainize them. They're no longer like the cute, sweet little kids that everyone in the media loves. Oh no.